Hi there, this is Josh from Literary Gladiators, and today I'm here with another book haul. Recently I went to another used bookstore in Medford, New Jersey, and the place is called the Book Swap Cafe. And I will leave information to that place down below. The way that it's structured is quite fascinating. It sells both new and used books. Used books are 50% off unless you go into the other building where they have it for an even cheaper discount. And then they have new books that they sell for retail price. But their selection is quite impressive, I would say, to say the very least. I picked up 8 books while I was there, which I thought they were the most intriguing, and I decided to, I thought I would share them with you today. First one I wanted to show you is Colonel Roosevelt by Edmund Morris. After looking into this, I found out that this is the third of a 3-part trilogy, per se. It starts with the rise of Theodore Roosevelt, then Theodore Rex, and Colonel Roosevelt explores life from after his presidency ended in 1909 and goes and continues until his death in 1919. They make some interesting predictions regarding the fact that if he was elected president in the 1912 election, he would have, World War I would have been incredibly different, and things would have turned out so much differently. I'm not sure whether it would have been for the good or the bad. And if he didn't die so early, because he was only 60 at the time of his death in 1919, he could have easily won the 1920 election as well, because Warren G. Harding was just plopped into the Republican nomination slot after this scuffle between several other candidates didn't work out for them, and we all know how well the Harding administration was. It wasn't good. But I really look forward to checking this out, and I'm probably going to end up buying The Rise of Theodore Roosevelt and Theodore Rex as well. Very similar to the Lyndon B. Johnson series that Caro wrote. And that is sorted into 4 parts. Next thing I got was John Adams by David McCullough. I'm surprised I didn't have this one. Sometimes I lose track of what I own and don't own, which you'll find out later in the haul. But this, people may know the adaptation of the John Adams series, which was on HBO and starred Paul Giamatti as President Adams. But this follows his life throughout, all 90 years of his life. Adams was our longest living president until Ronald Reagan broke his record and then exceeded it. And then that was broken by Gerald Ford, both of which Reagan and Ford lived to be 93. But Adams had a pretty remarkable life himself, despite the fact that he only was a one-term president. He had a pretty impressive resume with his construction of the foundation of the United States, his Federalist input, his construction of the Navy, and so many other things that I'm looking forward to reading in this particular book. Next thing I got was A Beautiful Mind by Sylvia Nasar. And this is the work of literature that follows the life of... This is the biography of John Nash, the mathematician who was also a schizophrenic, who had a movie made about his life called A Beautiful Mind, which starred Russell Crowe as Nash. Unfortunately, Nash recently passed away in a car accident, and it happened to be in New Jersey on I want to say the New Jersey Turnpike, which, if you're a New Jersey native, that's a pretty hectic strip of road. But I'm really interested to learn about Nash's life and background, and I do want to watch the movie again. I watched it once. I want to watch it again because I want to get a better grasp of it, because people have told me they watched it the first time, thought it was fantastic. Then they watched it again, and they're not as amazed. I'm looking forward to reading this probably before I watch the movie again, and then make a clearer judgment, because at the moment I felt that A Beautiful Mind was one of the best movies of the 2000s. Next thing I picked up is Silent House by Orhan Pamuk. I've been looking for and have been purchasing any Pamuk book that I've come across because I read A Strangeness in My Mind earlier in the year and I thought it was brilliant. The funny thing though is I got this at Barnes & Noble back in June, which sometimes if I don't remember that I purchased a book with all of the books that I have, I tend to double purchase, which at least in this case, it wasn't too expensive. But I may find a friend that may want to read this. We'll see. I do want to read the copy that I do have of Silent House as well. Next thing I got was A Prayer for Owen Meany by John Irving. Larry from the show really has a lot to say about this, and it really struck a chord with him. I feel that if there's a John Irving book I want to pick up and read, this is the one. Especially after watching Janelle and Amy's reviews for the Cider House Rules. This particular novel explores the title character Owen Meany, who is little. He's little, he gets picked on, and he was playing a game of baseball, and the ball struck and killed his best friend's mother. And this story is told from the point of view of the best friend. But Owen Meany feels that he was sent down by God to be one of his servants, which he believes that he is, and he may, and to us, the reader, he is. But if you're saying that to the general population, there are going to be people that look at him in a pretty... There are people that are going to see him in a pretty weird way. But that's the whole question regarding faith. And I really am intrigued to read this. And I was looking up a little bit of background, and it said that Irving was inspired by Gunter Grass, which Grass wrote The Tin Drum, and his title character was also dwarf. And there were great similarities between the two characters, even if the story itself was different. Next two books that I got were from Erik Larson. I picked up, I got Devil in the White City as a gift from my good friend and fellow gladiator Bree. And I picked up In the Garden of the Beasts on my own at Recycled Reading. At Bookswap, I got Thunderstruck, which explores the someone who eventually becomes a murderer named Pepin, and the more familiar Marconi, who created the communication system which we know today as the radio. And it has to do with their relationship and their interaction and what becomes of it. And Dead Wake, the last crossing of the Lusitania, it explores the German sinking of the liner known as Lusitania, which people argue that was the final straw that caused the Americans to enter World War I. Both sound interesting, especially since I've heard great things about Larson. I hold a lot of promise to what he has to offer. And the last thing I got was The Apprentice, My Life in the Kitchen by Jacques Pepin. And in this case, The Apprentice is a more subtle term. Jacques Pepin is a very subtle, modest, humble, brilliant chef. I've watched him on PBS cooking shows, most recently Fast Food My Way, but he's come out with something more recent than that. I just need to explore that a bit more. But Jacques Pepin is a French-born chef who came to America and became a television chef and has produced plenty of cookbooks. He has worked in several projects with the legendary Julia Child. And two of them, Julia Child had shows where she was cooking with professionals, and there was one specifically with her and Jacques Pepin, and I'm going to use this word again, but it is a subtle version of the partnerships that we see in entertainment today between, like those with Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga, or Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg. This is much more toned down, but very intellectual, and I'm really looking forward to reading about what the life and times of Jacques Pepin, and hopefully I can come across one of his cookbooks and explore his approach to food. And what I mean by a celebrity chef, he is so laid back that a lot of the celebrity chefs that you see on Food Network and the Cooking Channel, they're very upbeat, smiley, have a lot of energy. Jacques Pepin is just like that. He's like that calm grandfather that possesses so much wisdom, and it is the quality of what he is saying about the food that he prioritizes, and it makes you feel much more enriched. Alrighty. Here is everything I got at Book Swap Cafe in Medford. Thank you for tuning into this video, and I will definitely keep you in touch. I'll definitely keep in touch with regard to what I thought about these when I get to them. And for now, and as always, I encourage you to keep reading.